Hello everyone, welcome back to another book review. My name is Adam, and in today's episode I'm going to be talking about Red Dragon, the book from Thomas Harris, which completely spawned the best film, Silence of the Lambs. This version is, as you can see, the double version of Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs. And they got Silence of the Lambs on the top there prominently, although it's Red Dragon first. You know, and chronologically, it's Red Dragon second, but in order of when he wrote it, it's Red Dragon first. Thomas Harris was the writer of this book, first published in 1982. There was a film brought out of this in the 80s, starring the dude from CSI. I can't remember his real name. He played Will Graham. This book charts the story of a detective who's got, you know, sort of emotional issues because he had a bit of a run-in with, you know, a serial killer, Hannibal Lecter, who is now incarcerated, thrown in the slammer. And it kind of messed up Will Graham. And shit's going down again. Someone's dying. Basically a guy who thinks he's God, you know, turning into a red dragon creature, is going around slaying families, and the cops don't even know what the hell's going on. And so, you know, Will's boss, who also is the same character in the Silence of the Lambs book, I forget his name, Jack, I think, something like that. He goes to Will Graves. I need your help, mate. I'm absolute thick as pig shit. You get it. You know what's going on. Come, please. Obviously, Will's got a family. Will's got a life. He doesn't want to really get involved, but he can't help it. You know, he's got demons that he needs to process. So he starts looking into things his way, you know. And there's a piece of shit newspaper, the Tatler, whatever it is. They're onto it. You know, they're all over it because it's news. And they're trying to track down the Tooth Fairy killer. And I won't spoil the rest of the story. I mean, the film, they made a film of it with Anthony Hopkins. Off the success of Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal, they went back to Red Dragon, which, like I said, was already a film in the 80s called Manhunter. So there already was a Hannibal Lecter portrayed in film before Anthony Hopkins. And it was Brian Cox, you know. And he did a really good job, I think. Like, there wasn't much to do with the character. Like, there's only a few scenes, like maybe 2 or 3 scenes with Lecter in this book, in the film Red Dragon. And that Red Dragon film by Brett Ratner follows this quite close. There's only a couple of scenes that they actually included in the film that weren't written in the book with Anthony Hopkins, because, like, you know, he defined the character in Silence of the Lambs. He is Hannibal Lecter. Everybody wants to see him do another one. And he went on to do Hannibal. I've got that book as well. I'll be reading that after Silence of the Lambs. And he just defined that character forever. So, obviously, they went back and made Red Dragon. Really, I enjoyed that film. It's really good. It does follow the book very closely, more closely than Manhunter did. Manhunter just used the book as a basis to make a thriller, I think. Like, it does follow the book, but there are loads of scenes not in Manhunter, and it's slightly different, you know. There's things that he does in the film that he doesn't do in the book. It's basically, they just use it as a guide, you know. But it is out there to watch, Manhunter. Go check it out. It's really good. But Red Dragon, I really enjoyed this. Now, obviously, Thomas Harris, this was his first Lecter book. I don't think this is the first book he's ever written. He must have wrote other stuff before this, but this is the first one. Oh, no, here. Oh, yeah, it says Thomas Harris wrote his first novel, Black Sunday. In 1973, a veteran news reporter, he covered crime in the United States and Mexico and worked as a reporter and editor for Associated Press in New York City. Well, write about what you know, innit? Originally from Mississippi, he now lives in New York, eating a dirty waterlog. I really enjoyed this book. It really, if you enjoy the series CSI, you're gonna love reading this book. If you enjoy, you know, real life crimes, you're gonna enjoy it. it's easy to read. Like, there's nothing in it that is like, oh man, this is getting complicated now. It's very easily let out. It does flick between scenes very quickly, and the chapters are like a page to 2 pages each. Like, I read this, right? Okay. So I started reading this last year in May. And it was only like last week that I finished reading it. And not because I'm just a slow reader or a lazy reader. On the contrary, I mean, I don't read every day and I don't read for hours on end. But when I started reading this, I wasn't wearing glasses. I wear glasses now. But I wasn't wearing glasses, and I found myself, like, my eyes were getting tired. I was falling asleep. Not because of the book. I was wanting to read more. But literally, my eye strain was killing me. Now, I had prescribed glasses back in 2015, but I never used them. I can see clearly. Everything's fine. But I put my new glasses on. I'm like, whoa, everything's sharper. I must be blind as a bat. When I started reading with my new glasses, the varifocals, I didn't fall asleep, and I was able to read more. So I finally was able to finish the book after a year reading it. I read Hannibal Rising, I think, in about 3-4 months, about a year and a half ago. But yeah, as soon as I finished Hannibal Rising, I picked up Red Dragon, started reading that. A year later, it's done. But I really recommend this book. It's really easy to read. Thomas Harris, as a writer, writes very understandably easy for you to visualize what's going on. But the only criticism I'll say, sometimes writes things that you don't even need to know, you know? Like, has sometimes a little divergence, you know? And it's like, okay, well, that's got to do with anything, but okay, you know? Like, I did actually get lost a couple of times in terms of what he was saying. I had to go back and find a place to reread everything to understand. Like, it's more refined in Hannibal Rising, his writing, but in this one, yeah, you can tell he's just starting out. It was enjoyable, though. The story was... I loved it. Obviously, I've seen Red Dragon first, the film, which this was the film was based off. I have seen Manhunter, so I kind of knew what was coming. But if you've not seen those films and you want to pick this up, you're going to love it. Absolutely love it. I really enjoyed... Look at that cover, man. Honestly, how scary is that? I really enjoyed the Red Dragon book. A really gripping, like, true life crime. You follow the detective, Will Graham, more than anything. Although you do have a few scenes with the Tooth Fairy, and you see what he's going up to in his lair, what he's got going down, what he wants out of life, his intentions. And then there's a nice, like, flashback to his childhood to understand why he does what he does. Kind of like what they did with Hannibal Rising and Lecter. They gave you not a flashback, the whole book's a flashback, but gave you his backstory. They do that within Red Dragon, a condensed version, like a couple of chapters, and it really gives you an understanding. And that's what I love about these books, is that it doesn't depict the baddies, as it were, as through and through villains. They're just doing what they need to do to survive, you know. Obviously they're doing bad shit and they have to be taken down, but they don't seem monstrous just for the sake of it. There's a reason, and he explains that. The psychologicalness, the psychology of these books is really well written. I love it, and it does go into the psychological side of the mind and criminal behavior more so than the actual crimes themselves. They're kind of skipped over. Like, they're just a short paragraph or one maybe chapter, if that. Like, they're not the main focus. It's not a gore fest. It's not Saw, you know. This is a psychological thriller, and it is a well-written psychological thriller, and if you've not seen it, go grab it. I reckon you'll love it. As I say, I'm reading Silence of the Lambs at the moment. I'll just give you a little sneak preview. I'm on chapter 4 at the moment, and it says, Clarice Starling was excited, depleted, running on her will. Some of the things Lecter had said about her were true, and some only changed on the truth. For a few seconds she had felt an alien consciousness lose in her head, slapping things off the shelves like a bear in a camper. Like, it doesn't tell you much, but tells you what's going on, you know. That's what I love, and I'm really looking forward to finishing Silence of the Lambs. I might read a bit actually after this, to be honest. Yeah, and then after that, I will be doing Hannibal, which I've got on the shelf up here. That's a big, thick book. That's going to take me like 3 years to read, I reckon. So don't expect that one coming any soon. But Silence of the Lambs, like, I ain't got that much more to go. You know, it's not that. So this is Silence of the Lambs, this bit here. It's not a thick book. Like, I've seen people read like 5 books in like 3 months. Like Johnny 5, you know. I tend to just read when I've got some time, when I've got some willpower, you know, when I've got some quiet time. And there's not that much of that, to be honest. So, yeah. Go get it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this book review. Let me know in the comments if there's any books you want me to read. We've got some Stephen King ones coming. And I can't wait to get reading so I can share with you more thoughts on these books that excite me and that interest me. But if there's something you want me to read, then I'll give it a go and tell you what I think. But if I find it shit, I'll tell you, and I probably won't finish it. So give me some good books, guys. All right? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.